All right, everybody, we are back. It is Tape Don't Lie. It is another episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the last Senior Bowl episode and you hit the subscribe button. But if you're here for the first time, like once again, make sure you hit subscribe and like the page. Hit subscribe and like. Remember, it is Tape Don't Lie. We're gonna be hitting you guys all off season with free agency and draft material. So, like I said, I am Marcus Johnson at the Mark John NFL is my Twitter name. Then we got BD Williams at BD Williams 18 is his Twitter name. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter. And like I said, once again, make sure you hit the subscribe button. So today we got a fun pack show. We're staying in the trenches. We're still in the trenches, guys. We haven't left the trenches yet. The trenches say you got to build in the trenches, right? We all watch Super Bowl. The Chiefs got their butts whipped because they didn't have the trenches built up. They had some guys down, and then the other team had the trenches built up with Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. And they went in there and kicked their butt. I know some of you guys enjoyed that. And the Dominican Sue.
Yeah.
I know some of the Raider fans enjoy watching Patrick Mahomes get beat up a little bit. I know that was very exciting last week. But we're back. We're here talking about offensive tackles, which is a big subject here right now for the Raiders because, Trent Brown, they're going to cut Trent Brown. They're going to keep him. Is he going to come back? So offensive tackle is definitely in play for the Raiders. I think it's a sneaky play that I think a lot of fans won't be as sexy if it happens at 17, but it might happen. Do not think that, especially with this tackle class looks, that it won't happen. So just keep on the outlook for this. So BD, how you feeling, man? How you been? You good? You good?
Yeah, man, I'm good. It feels like haven't been at this for a while.
Yeah.
I think we're getting antsy. It's draft season.
Yeah.
But doing this draft scout versus pro scout format, it keeps me honest, making me review the actual NFL all 22.
Yeah.
And I've heard, and you've told me offline, that this draft class for tackles is really good.
Yes.
And this free agent class of tackles is the opposite. It's trash. Okay. So, I mean, if the Raiders need a tackle, my job is to put the NFL to be the pro scout here. So I have a segment. I'm not proud of it. Okay, let's just put it that way. All right.
It was rough.
So it was rough going through all these tackles who are going to be free agents. I mean, I have never seen an older free agent tackle class. Like some of these dudes are like every single left tackle except Cam Robinson is over like 33 years old. That's a free agent.
Okay.
Like Jason Peterson.
I didn't know Cam Robinson was a free agent. Sorry, dude. I didn't.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm going off Spot Rack. They're probably gonna re-sign him, and that's the thing. Also with free agents, like they're a free agent, but most likely like they're gonna get re-signed or they're gonna get slapped with the franchise tag. So like only a few of these guys are actually gonna hit the open market. And so the left tackles, they're decent, but they're all old, and then the right tackles, they're all like guards. Or, like they say Denzel Good is a right tackle on Spot Rack. Like, come on. They clearly don't watch the tape. All right. Tape don't lie. Denzel Good is not a tackle. He's a guard who could play tackle in an emergency. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's not looking good for right tackles in free agency. It's not looking very promising, but I did my due diligence. I did my segment, but we'll get to that later. You got the premium stuff. You got the primo stuff. That's what everyone's going to click on. Everyone's going to click on for your stuff here.
For the draft stuff?
For the draft stuff. Yeah. So,
okay.
So why don't you go ahead?
All right. Let's go ahead.
Get started. Take us through some of these draft prospects at tackle. I'm excited for this.
All right. Yeah. So, I mean, this draft class is pretty crazy. So it's deep. Let's just say that it is a deep draft class. And there's a lot of guys that I really, really love in this draft class. But one of the main guys because Slater and Stewart, we ain't going to get him. But Darrisaw, do not let him fall. If he falls to 17, I don't know how I feel if we passed up on this guy. So we'll just watch him a little bit. Watch him in space, man. Okay. Oh, bro, he's just moving in space. He's just special. he's not the most athletic guy, but he definitely has some serious athleticism to him. He's not like a freak like Sewell is, but you'll see him here. He's just mean too, just boom, just busting over somebody. So Darrisaw, he's got it too, man. He could pass protect too as well. And I think in any other draft he might go top 10, but with quarterbacks going and some of these tackles might fall, he might fall to the Raiders. And there's no way Tom Cable's not banging the table, because you're going to see here doing a little reach blocking, a little outside zone.
So
So
outside
just
zone.
get
Okay,
so
yeah.
Darrisaw, he's got it all to me. To be honest, he's probably, I got a high first round pick on him. I think he's top 15 pick, but he might fall to the Raiders. So it I can't see them passing him up. The Tom Cable special for me, though, Tom Cable has him a long, athletic tackle, right? We saw Colt Miller, and I think we got a little Colt Miller version here, and his name's Alex Leatherwood from Alabama. All right, Alex Leatherwood can move. Okay, like this dude can move in space. So I'll show you what. Look how fast he's moving in space, man. He can move. He had a bad Senior Bowl. I mean, he picked up day 3, but you see here, he's doing a snatch and trap move, right? This is snatch and trap. It's like a offensive lineman move when they try to do a bull rush, you snatch and trap. But look how he did. That's textbook, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
he had a bad Senior Bowl, but that is somebody Tom Cable was going to fall in love with and bang the table for, just because how athletic he is. So Leatherwood might fall to the second, but it's somebody that you guys should look out for is Leatherwood. The safe pick to me, though, the safest guy, one of the safest picks to me is Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame.
Mm,
Okay, now Liam is just clean. I mean, there's no way he's clean in the run. He's clean against the pass. I mean, he can struggle with this speed rush sometimes, but he's just clean, and you see him clean picking up the stunt, man. Everything is just clean technique, clean hands, right in the right place. You could tell he's a veteran center. Sorry, veteran left tackle. He's been playing left tackle for the longest, and he had a great game against Pittsburgh. He just is clean. There's just no other way to describe him besides him just being pure clean. I mean, he's just fantastic, right? And then we got the right tackles. That's what we all worried about is the right tackles, right? We want who's playing right tackle. We see his left tackles. Colt Miller plays left tackle. Where are the right tackles at? Let's go and check him out. First, we got my boy Jalen Mayfield from Michigan. Now, this dude is a bruiser at right tackle, man. He just run you over, right? He's got some pretty good athletic ability, but you see he got good hands, and he's just mean. He runs you over, drills you into the ground as much as possible. And you'll see both these right tackles I'll show. They're pretty mean guys. They're not nice. These are definitely some bar brawl guys. So you see him here too again. He's running somebody over, man.
finishing,
Great
yeah.
hands, great inside. He's a finisher. Then you got Tevan Jenkkins. This dude's he's just a mean guy. He's evil. He's just throwing somebody in the ground. Tevan Jenkkins, he made Joseph Asai look like a third round pick. And I got a first round grade on Joseph Asai. He made him look like a third round pick. Look at him just toss this dude at the club. Look at that. Right? He's good in space too. Look, he's just tossing dudes. I'll tell you, man, this tackle class is ridiculous. So he just tossed about the club. He's gone. And then I got my special sleeper here. Okay. This is my sleeper. This is my day 3 guy.
Hmm.
A lot of people might not have heard of him. He had a good Senior Bowl, and his name is Robert Jones. He's from Middle Tennessee State. All right. Now, Robert Jones is a big dude. He's 335 pounds. Okay. And he might move to guard, but he's got some tackle in him. And I just want you guys to see what kind of move that he just did right there. You see how he kind of faked his fake punch and made the guy commit, right? Let's see. Look at the freeze. Look at him fake the punch. Dude commits, brings it down really quick right after that. Let's give you it's super quick. Boom, brings it down, resets. That's that is some textbook tackle stuff. Like that's stuff Mitchell Schwartz does as a right tackle. You see, he does it again. Get him that little fake punch, get him to commit. Then he's able to get his hands inside, and he can move too. He's got light on his feet for being 335 pounds. I mean, even if the Raiders did draft him day 3, and you see him doing snatch and trap there too. So he's got some serious technique. And if the Raiders ended up drafting him day 3, he's so versatile that maybe they might have their guard, or
Right.
they might have their swing tackle, right? Somebody goes down, they got a swing tackle if they bring back Trent Brown. And that's why I really like Robert Jones. I really like how he's versatile. He played at the Senior Bowl. He was inside and he was outside, and he did well at both at the Senior Bowl. He had a little trouble with the speed rush just because he's 335 pounds. That's not, you don't see that many tackles that are his height. He's not a tall dude either. And at 335 pounds, I mean, that's why they had to fit for guard for him. But I think that he's able to play tackle, be late, right? You know, if you need him to play tackle, he could play tackle, and then but if you might have a really really good guard if you draft him. So I think that's my sleeper guy. I was really high on him when I did my scouting report for expanded box score. They all thought I was crazy, but I was like, bro, are you watching what he's doing? Like he's pretty advanced as technique wise. So that's my sleeper. But I'm telling you guys, this class, it was took me so long to do this breakdown and just to figure out what guys I wanted to cover. Like I didn't know, like I'm missing guys here. I'm missing like Dylan Randunes. I'm missing Dylan
Randunes, yeah.
Randunes, yeah, from North Dakota State. Jackson Carman from Clemson. I'm missing him. I'm missing Cosme from Texas. Okay, these are all good tackles. These are all day one, day two guys. I feel like all these guys are going to go day one, day two. I mean, I didn't even show you Slater. I mean, if Slater falls, there's no way the Raiders are
He's
even
not
gonna.
falling.
Slater's not falling. His Chase Young tape. There's a whole debate like, did he shut down Chase Young? And I mean, it was only like 8 snaps, but he looked pretty damn good against Chase Young. So
Okay.
that's his tape. That's kind of his calling cards. Like I did excellent against Chase Young. I'm gonna, that's my tape, and he's a big dude too. And then of course there's Sewell, who I think Slater might go over Sewell which I don't understand that because they both opted out. But I think the NFL likes Slater a little more than Sewell right now, which is weird. But I would take Sewell all day over Slater. But none of those guys are touch the Raiders. They might. I don't know. The draft is crazy. I don't know. Something might happen. Somebody might fall. Some injury might happen. I don't know. Like an injury concern. I don't know. Who knows? Right?
Slater's stepfather, okay, could release a video of him smoking a bong out of a gas mask.
Yeah.
5 hours before the draft.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And he might fall right to the Raiders. And it's things like that happen.
Things like that have literally happened before. Yeah. So.
But what I will say is that do not expect the Raiders, in my opinion, just from where this tackle class is. I don't expect the Raiders to get out of day 2 without taking one of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect it. I mean, maybe they go all defense. They should they probably, but what's the quickest return that you're going to get if you decide that Trent Brown is not the guy? What is the quickest return are you going to get? You're going to get one of these tackles. And then you're going to look at Tristan Wirfs, right? Everybody's going to be like, okay, tackles don't help really quick. Well, I could name a couple tackles. Willis, who went to Cleveland, he helped that line get better immediately. I mean, Tristan Wirfs. I mean, some people are already calling him the best right tackle in the league. He's only played 1 year. So I think some of these tackles that are coming out, I mean, the Raiders, they can't mess around with some of these guys. And I know that's just like I'm saying, like it has to be a defensive draft, and I get that, but I just can't. If Darrisaw falls to 17, bro, and they don't take him out, I might be upset. Because I don't know if there's a better defensive player than him that's available. I just hope they don't reach like on somebody like Alex Leatherwood, which I could see them doing that because he's like the black Colt Miller. And I mean, he's not 6'9", but he's 6'6". And he just moves just as well, and his arms are just as long. And that's somebody Tom Cable would just love and just bang the table for. He's at the pedigree. He can move. He's run outside zone. His all in college. Yeah, and they might want to move him to guard. So that's what I'm saying. Like they might see Leatherwood and be like, you know what, he could replace Good, or he could play tackle for us if Brown goes down. So like, I'm telling you, man, do just tackle's a premium position in
You
NFL.
really just said he's the black Colton Miller, by the way, on air. That's hilarious. How about Eichenberg? Am I saying his name right? The Notre Dame guy?
Yeah.
Hey, first of all, whoever is the Notre Dame offensive line coach, okay, he's probably like top 5 offensive line coaches in the world. Okay, like this guy, like they have been churning out offensive linemen who are like really good in the NFL for years. So that I see a Notre Dame offensive lineman, and I'm automatically like, I don't even need to see the tape. I'm like, yep, just do it. Like these guys are so well coached. I would be very interested to find out more about that Eichenberg guy. I've seen some people posting some things on Twitter about him.
That's good, bro,
and liking him a lot. But I mean, and I think that's really the interesting thing, because how do you put this? Colton Miller, obviously, he's playing left tackle, right?
Yeah.
He's a left tackle. So
Hmm.
getting a guy and then having them play right tackle, if it's a guy who's not used to being on the right, that's going to be, something that they're going to have to like figure out. Is that a smart thing to ask a player to do? Especially if the plan is to replace Trent Brown. Now, if Trent Brown comes back, then you got some leeway here,
Hmm.
and that guy doesn't need to start necessarily immediately.
Yeah.
Chances are he will play at some point in the year because Trent Brown, hasn't stayed healthy for the Raiders.
Exactly.
That's on his track record at this point, and hopefully, if Brown does come back, he can actually play like a full season. That'd be awesome to see, but I'll believe it when I see it. So
Yeah.
I mean, getting a guy, a first or a second round pick, with a good pedigree, with a lot of starts under his belt in college, things like that, would be probably a smart move, just so that they don't have to play musical chairs on the offensive line. You know, if, and last year it was rough. I think that's really one of the biggest reasons why the run game couldn't get going is because they were constantly having to Richie Incognito went down, and then it's like Denzel Good, and then Denzel Good has to go to tackle, and then it's John Simpson, and Sam Young, and Brandon Parker are rotating in. It's just like too many moving pieces on the offensive line. Got to
Hmm.
get some stability there, and I think that is going to help out, especially his own running scheme. So, yeah, I think that's got to be the biggest thing, because the crazy thing about it is the passing game was fine, right?
Hmm.
And who knows, maybe it could have been even better if there was some
Yeah. Yeah.
stability on offensive line, right?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
really think that what hurt the offense this year was the offensive line being hurt,
Hmm.
and making that like an early, because like, look, you're not going to get a starting caliber tackle like late in the draft,
No, you're
right?
not.
You're not
Mm-mm.
going to get that. Okay.
Mm-mm.
But it's possible to maybe get like a linebacker or a safety in like round 3 or 4 or something like that. Like there's a lot of guys who are playing really well in the league that were drafted like in the mid rounds at like
Yeah.
linebacker or safety or something like that, right?
Especially linebacker and safety.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's okay, Raiders fans. If the Raiders take a tackle in round 1, it's okay. They can still make it a defense heavy draft like in the mid
Yeah.
rounds. It's going to be okay. Don't go crazy if they take, Darrisaw or Radins or something like that in round 1. It's going to be all right. Take a deep breath. It'll be cool. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting when because I showed you my old scouting report of Colton Miller, is that he played rat tackle his first 2 years in college,
Right.
and
Okay.
he
I
was
remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
and he played left tackle, and it's just interesting that they had Donald Penn and they're like, well, no, he's playing left tackle, and you're gonna move to right tackle instead of putting Colton Miller at right tackle from the jump.
Yeah.
So and that could have been part of the reason why Colton Miller had a little bit of an adjustment himself in the NFL, because he was played right tackle for most of his career in college, and then he went and had to play left tackle, and that's an adjustment. It's like switching hands. So throwing a baseball or throwing a football, like switching hands or whatever. So um, that's why I showed the right tackles too, because I mean, Jalen Mayfield and Tevan Jenkins. I mean, I think Tevan Jenkins is more of a day 2 pick to me. Maybe I think 17 is too rich, but I wouldn't be too mad if they took Jalen Mayfield at 17. Like I wouldn't be like mad about it. I would think it'd be interesting, but
That
I
was
wouldn't be like,
a. I mean, everyone's gonna say, once again, the Raiders reached on a guy, like that. That's gonna be like the
yeah,
first thing that everyone says. But gosh, that dude was, like you said, evil. That's a great way to describe an offensive lineman who's burying guys. My goodness, that was nasty. That was disgusting
yeah.
what he was
So
doing.
so so it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with the draft, because also, I mean, at 17, I know they had 19 last year, but 17, you're at that spot where like a good player will fall to you that might be not a position of need, that you might not even think would ever fall to you. Like I looked this up, the last picks at 17, I think it was. So last year was CD Lamb, right? I think Derwin James was a 17.
Yes, he was.
Jonathan Allen, right? Jonathan Allen, Keanu Neal, was 17. Like there's a lot of good players that were drafted at pick 17. So it's like you're still gonna get a quality player, and you might get the best player that fell too. And that's gonna put the Raiders in a serious position. Like, okay, let's say a really really good player that's not even a need, or like a really good corner, like let's say like J.C. Horn or something ends up falling all the way to 17 or something like that. Do they just take J.C. Horn, or do they stick to their need board, or like it's gonna be interesting. That's why I think this is where they're at. It's gonna be super interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be able to get into watching all the guys this year. I wish I could, but I just don't have the time. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, we'll see about great players falling. I mean those guys that you just said at 17, like that's awesome. That's an awesome list of players.
Yeah, yeah,
But well, I think that really the most important thing is to see. Look, it's cool. It's cool. Mike Mayock, if you love a guy, all right, but sometimes you gotta be able to trade down. You know what I'm saying? Just get some extra picks. Go back 7-8 spots. It'll be okay. Like if the Raiders traded back and missed out on Damon Arnett, who's crying over that? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
yeah.
It would have been okay if they missed out on Damon Arnett because they traded down.
Yeah.
So the Raiders got to be able to do that. They got to be able to trade down. That's something that Mike Mayock needs to, that's part of being a GM, is getting those relationships around the league where you can, pick up that phone call and make that trade.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important thing that we see, like Mike Mayock grow in that area, because like maybe other than like first and maybe second round pick, they don't need these guys to start. They need the guys that they picked in the last 2 years to like get to the point where they can be make an impact and be starters. So that like we need 100%. To see the last year's pick start.
100%. Especially the 2019 guys. It's year 3, bro. We scouts do everything on 3-year projections. I mean, it's time.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Time. Like it's time, and that's why they brought in Gus Bradley. I think they're like, okay, we got these young defensive players. We need to find a coach that can get something out of them. So
right, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's another reason why I don't think that the Raiders necessarily are going to pick defense in the first round either. So,
yeah.
You're right. Let's get into, first of all, Marcus, that was an excellent footage, clips that you got together. You had a lot of things to go through. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have too many things to go through.
Okay.
So first things first, we're talking about length. Demar Dotson, 6'9", 315. Okay. He's a right tackle. Okay. What better way to get better at the right tackle position if Trent Brown isn't in the plans than to poach someone from, a division rival. Okay. He can move a little bit. I think that he's not the greatest run blocker of all time. All right. But, at 6'9", 315, I think he can move pretty well. And he's definitely starting caliber offensive tackle in the NFL. And the other thing that is impressive, he does pretty well against the AFC West pass rushers, Joey Bosa's, Melvin Ingram's, and the Frank Clark's, so he has experience playing against these guys. He's definitely starting caliber right tackle. And if Trent Brown's not in the cards for the Raiders, going out and getting a guy like Demar Dotson, I think barring, any injuries, he's ready to go. Now, after Demar Dotson, it doesn't look good. There's a guy named Kendall Lamm from Cleveland. He only started one game in 2020. It was in the divisional or the wild card round of the playoffs. And first thing that jumps out to me, he's got incredible quickness. His step frequency when he's in pass protection is great. A lot of speed when he's in pass protecting. I think that his anchor might be a little suspect. I think he gets walked back a little bit too much. But I think he's got great speed when he's pass protecting. Now, in the run game, I don't think he's super impressive. I think that he would be best in a zone scheme, where he's allowed to use kind of, his speed that he has. But you're going to see him, at least something that I saw from him is, struggling to finish blocks was part of his problem as a run blocker. And just not the most powerful right tackle. Now the next guy is a very powerful man, Raven Clark from Indianapolis. He's a swing tackle. He only started again. This guy only started one game, but the game that he did start, he was a very strong run blocker. Okay, he did a great job finishing off blocks, moving guys around. That first clip was against Myles Garrett. This one's against 54. I remembered his name, but I can't remember now. Anyways, now as a pass protector, he's the worst guy on this list. Going up against Myles Garrett in your only start is not a great way to, get your 2020 rolling. He definitely struggled against Myles Garrett. I think that he doesn't have great technique as a pass protector. I think he's bending at the waist a little too much. Not gaining enough ground when he's taking a vertical set. So that's really all I got. The rest of these guys in the, you got Jason Peters is 39 years old. Okay. You got some other guys that Spot Rack says are right tackles. But when I went into their film, they actually were playing guard all year. Okay. You have a whole bunch of guys who are like 30, 33, 34, 35, 36 years old playing tackle. I don't see you're not going to get a left tackle in free agency who's 34 years old and say, hey, we want you to come play for us. Oh, but you're going to play right tackle. Right. So it's going to have to be one of these, like if they do get a free agent tackle, it's going to have to be a guy who's a swing tackle, a guy that, isn't necessarily proven or something like that, at which point that can't stop you from drafting a tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that the best case scenario is Raiders just keep Trent Brown, right? Just judging off of this free agent group of tackles, like these guys are not great options, to be quite honest with you. Demar Dotson has missed a lot of games in his NFL career. So I think injury is an issue for him as well as Trent Brown. So that wouldn't be necessarily, like a slam dunk going from Trent Brown to a guy like Demar Dotson, right? And he's not quite as powerful as Trent Brown is either. So I think the best case scenario is Trent Brown, gets his weight down, refocuses on getting his body in playing shape to, play a full 16 game NFL season, drafting a young guy, one of these guys that you showed us. And then the Raiders, can have that contingency plan if Trent Brown isn't able to go, they could put the rookie in so at some point in the year to get those valuable game reps, and then they can move on from Trent Brown after this year. So that's really what I think the best idea would be. These last two tackles that I showed, these are the only guys that I could identify. Going through, I watched 7 tackles. The rest of them either played left tackle only or guard, that are free agents. So it's tough for me to see that that's a good fit. So yeah, I mean, I was really at a loss to try to figure out which pro guys, the Raiders could attack in free agency. I really think the best case scenario is Trent Brown comes back and they draft one of the guys that you talked about.
Yeah. I mean, the only other guy, I mean, is Moton, but there's no way that he's not leaving Carolina.
Yeah, Daryl Williams, Moton, those guys. Yeah, Daryl Williams is on the Bills. Moton is on the Panthers. Yeah. The consensus is those teams are going to bring them back. There's no way that they're going to let those guys leave. And those guys are good and they're young, but and they play right tackle, right? But why would you, good young right tackles or tackles period, good run tackles, they don't leave. Why would you let a guy leave? Which is why the Raiders should have thought twice when they saw that the Patriots were okay with letting Trent Brown go.
Yeah, it's very true. Like, why are they letting Trent go if he's such a good left?
If he's so good, why are they letting him go? Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point, man. Because I mean, Motown would be like 20 million too. That's not going to be cheap. He's a really, really good right tackle. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't be cheap anyway. So, and that's the thing that is key for free agency for me is like I don't think the Raiders are going to be big spenders. They're going to be bargain shopping, you know, because I think they, like we were talking about, I think they believe in the rookies, right? They believe in developing the second and third year guys, and I don't see them doing this huge, huge spending. I just don't see it. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. I know they just cut Tyrell Williams to that frees us up some money. The cap space is supposed to be a little higher than they thought, so I think they're going to have like, I guess what they're going to have like 18 million in cap space. And then they just released Tyrell Williams, so that might bring it up to like 20, 30. So I don't know. They maybe they will. Maybe they go hard and try to sign some defensive player and just go all out and try to get that one guy that they think will change everything. So
JJ Watt.
JJ Watt. Oh, geez, bro, don't even. I would be excited if that happened.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah, there's no way. They he's not play. He's not trying to play for money right now. But like, but that goes to the weird conversation I always have. Like, how do you decide what a contender is? Like right now, like you just go play for the Chiefs. I mean, like
Right.
what like is any team like, because anything can change. Like NFL season to season, there's not too many teams that are like consistent unless they got like an elite quarterback, right? And so like, what's a contender? Like he could make the Raiders contenders, I think, if he came and he's still really good. So like like I saw some people try to say that he's declining. I'm like, oh, so he went from 20 sacks to 12. Oh, that declined.
Yeah. Right. He went from
Oh,
like
he's terrible.
all timer to like really good.
Really good. Awful. Don't break him. Decline. He's
Yeah.
declining.
Don't you dare. Don't say that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, JJ Watt, some people were asking me, would he fit in Gus Bradley's scheme? Is the Pope a Catholic? Like,
it's JJ Watt, bro.
JJ Watt is a transcendent of scheme. Okay. Like, put this guy anywhere, he's going to ball out for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if JJ Watt wanted to, he could just right now transition to tight end and he would get like 7 or 8 touchdowns next year. Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's a beast of a player. So, but
I mean, because
we don't even have to like belabor the point too much, because he's going to go play with his brother in Pittsburgh. He's going to find a team that has like a really good weak side rusher that's like a speed guy that can complement him. TJ Watt would probably complement him really well. So he'll find one of those teams also that was probably in the playoffs last year and say, hey, let's do this, but I would be shocked at this point if the Raiders were even in the running for him.
That would be nice. But we'll get to edge players later. Right?
Yeah.
We'll get to the edge later.
There you go. Yeah. Do you want to talk about Super Bowl at all? Any impressions that you think relative to the Raiders?
Relative to the Raiders, I don't know if the Raiders could duplicate that Bucks game plan. The Bucks game plan was pretty complex. That was
a lot of designer coverages and things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
One, I think that the key thing about the Super Bowl and like stopping the Chiefs is that the Bucks, they dropped every tendency that they ever had on both sides of the football. So the Bucks, they run the ball on first down a lot and they don't play action. So what do they do all game? They pass on first down and they play action all game. The defense, they play a lot of single high, they blitz a lot, they blitz you a lot, but no, not in this game. We're gonna play cover 7 and we're gonna do these exotic coverages and we're just gonna rush 4. We're not gonna do it. And I don't think the Chiefs were prepared for any of that, especially on defense. I don't think they were prepared for them to not even try to throw deep. I don't think they even tried. Did they try to throw deep the whole game? I don't think they even tried to throw the ball deep, and that's what the Bucks do.
There was like, I think there was a couple,
like one, like to Mike Evans, it was like a pass interference or something, right. But it was not like how they usually do, like how they did against the Packers week before. They were like a totally different team. Like that was like the team that that was not the same Bucks team that played all year. So that was the interesting thing. That was just like the Bucks just outcoached the Chiefs. That was what
Outcoached,
that was.
100%.
Outcoached the hell out of them.
Okay.
So that's that. I don't think there's anything different. I'm not gonna be the guy who's gonna trash Patrick Mahomes. Like I see on TV, I see people trashing Mahomes. I'm not gonna give him any type of motivation. I don't, I'm not gonna give him any type of so he could post a video in December 2021 of him with his 55 touchdowns and he's posting videos of people making comments and doing all that stuff. I'm good. I'm not. I'm straight.
Yeah.
I'm good on that. I've been seeing too much of that, and it just bothers me. Like,
Yeah. I mean, that look here, and here's the thing. We've seen Patrick Mahomes. He's a very successful quarterback in his young career, but he's still a young quarterback.
yeah,
Right.
mm-hmm.
And like you're saying, a lot of tendency breakers from the Bucks. Just talking specifically about their defense. Now that makes your post snap process. It's going to slow it down because now you're thinking, right? And that's difficult for all young quarterbacks. We saw Jared Goff. Patriots came out with a completely new defense that they had never seen before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Designed to stop the Sean McVay offense. And you saw Jared Goff's, go from having a lot of success that year. His post-snap process gets slowed down because he's trying to identify, like, okay, where do I go with this, right? So you will see young quarterbacks struggle when that happens. And Patrick Mahomes still is a young quarterback. Okay.
Yeah.
He's been a successful quarterback. He's going to keep on being really successful, unfortunately, for Raiders fans. Right. But yeah, that's, I would basically say, like, yeah, the Patriots found out, okay, this is what you do to nullify Jared Goff. Patrick Mahomes is probably going to get past that, that wall. He's going to figure out, oh, okay, you want to throw 3 deep safeties at me and do simulated pressures all game. I'm going to learn how to defeat that, right?
Yeah.
And then going to Tom Brady. It was a really impressive game because I have watched a lot of Chiefs defense, right?
Yeah.
The couple breakdowns that we did for this. Some people have been, sending me, direct messages saying, like, what coverage is this that the Chiefs are running? And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, these guys are like very, like, a lot of mystery coverages. And I think a lot of it has to do with Tyrann Mathieu just moving all around. Like, he has like the hook curl on the opposite side of the field, but he lines up over the slot, on one side, and then he moves, like, it's tough, right?
Yeah.
I've since, Steve Spagnuolo came and they started doing this very exotic, tough, mysterious coverages for the Chiefs. I have never seen a quarterback get to his, like, find the open guy as quick as Tom Brady did in that game. So, and, that's why he's the greatest quarterback ever.
Yeah.
So even with the Chiefs having a really tough defense, Brady was still able to dissect it, diagnose it, make that split decision, get to his right read, and no one has been able to do that against the Chiefs this year, really. So that was incredibly impressive. So yeah, Bucks.
I mean, except Derek Carr, bro. I mean, Derek Carr. I'm just kidding.
We talked about the Chiefs' game plan against Derek Carr week 5. That was the most disrespectful game plan of all time. They ran cover 0, like, all game.
No. So
that was not what they were doing against Brady. Okay. Right. Yeah, for sure. But it was a fun game. The other thing I'll say is, I'm not trashing Patrick Mahomes, okay? But everyone constantly showing the highlight of him, like, falling and making, like, these circus throws that were probably ill-advised throws, okay?
Yeah.
And then showing, like, oh, but it hit the receiver in his, helmet or something like that, right? To me, that, like, yeah, it's impressive that he got that throw off, but what's more impressive to me is Brady just, like, taking checkdowns and moving the ball. Like, that's real.
That's because you like boring quarterback play, bro. Like, you're like me. You like boring quarterback play. That's all it is.
So I think some people were saying that. Some people were even saying Patrick Mahomes outplayed Tom Brady. Don't be confused just because he made some, like, incredibly, like, tough throws to get off. That does not make good quarterback play. Okay, so that's all. That's what I'll say to our listeners. being able to rocket a ball down the field when you're flying through the air does not mean that is not a great quarterback play. Okay, it's impressive.
It's impressive. It's yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah. So that's all I'll say. I'll leave it at that because you don't want to stoke the fire of the Patrick Mahomes.
No,
So
I do not. I do not. Because next year, guess what he's gonna be doing? He's gonna be doing exactly what you're saying he's not doing.
right.
So let's leave him alone. He's not Russell Wilson where he's just gonna be stubborn and throw deep on it. Like
Yeah,
no,
right.
we seen him do it this year where he decides to not throw deep. I was like, that's what my whole thing with him is like. Sometimes he's just like to Patrick, like why did you decide this game that you're not going to throw short? But like you play the Raiders week 11 and then you're dink and dunk and you guys are running the football and dink and dunking and you guys don't throw deep all game. What is the thought process there? Like because the Bucks are like begging them to run the football and they wouldn't try. They didn't even try to do it. So it was weird. I don't know. Like the Andy Reid's his son got DUI. Like I feel like that they just had no game plan. They didn't adjust. It was just weird.
I mean, first of all, running the ball against the Bucks defense, that's tough. And then doing it with like correct me if I'm wrong, two backup tackles, right?
Yeah.
I think that they weren't even planning on running the ball because they're like they're gonna be in single high. Like I don't even think they were like game plan at all, thinking about that they're gonna be able to run the ball successfully, and like the 3 times they ran the ball in the game, like they were like good runs.
Yeah. Clyde Hare had like 9 carries or 64 yards.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Bro,
it was confusing. It was confusing to me. I was like, why are they passing? Like,
it's funny. We talk about passing league all the time, and it's like Anthony Sherman is on the bench for them, and he's probably one of the best fullbacks in the league. And I think he ever told you this. The DM's like they were begging them to go 6-on-6. That's all they had to do was just put Sherman in there and go 6-on-6 and then see what happens. And then they could have gassed him. And then guess what happens? Those they have to come up. And maybe they wouldn't have never come up. They might have never came up. You just try to stop it. But you just keep going. And then you see what happens. I don't know. But
it was like you're saying, they're outcoached.
Outcoached like crazy. But Bruce Arians is my dude, so I love Bruce. I got his book, his Quarterback Whisperer book. I love me some Bruce Arians. I still think his offense is outdated, but he got saved by Byron Leftwich this year, being smart and changing it.
Right.
That's really what happened. Brad Leftwich changed it.
What do you think Gruden would ever let an offensive coordinator come in and change his offense?
No.
You gotta listen. You gotta listen to people. You hire them. Because you think they're smart. Listen to them. And I think that's the mark of a good leader, and that's what Bruce Arians did this year. The other guy too. I mean, obviously, there was some, like you're saying, with Andy Reid's son getting the DUI, and and injuring those people. Which is like a really tragic situation. That probably definitely played into some of like the distraction before the game. And then you got 2 backup backup tackles in the game. So a lot of people are heaping praise on Todd Bowles. But some people are saying, well, let's detract from the performance because like at the end of the day, like the offensive line couldn't protect anyone. So anyone could drop a good game plan against them. I'm not sold on that because it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So I do think that it was an incredibly impressive game plan from Todd Bowles. And going back to when was this? 2012 when the Raiders hired Dennis Allen. I wanted Todd Bowles. I was like I was watching his Arizona Cardinals defense. I'm like, oh, this is the most exotic pressure packages you're ever gonna see. Like he's the one who started. Like he had Deion Buchanan change from linebacker to safety, and they were basically in dime all game. You know what I'm saying? Like they have a safety playing linebacker the entire game.
Yeah.
I think they were on the cutting edge with a lot of that. So I really wanted the Raiders to have Todd Bowles as the head coach. They got Dennis Allen, and we all know how that went. I think we probably would have seen more success with Todd Bowles, but that's
for sure. Better defense for sure.
Yeah. for sure. Imagine Todd Bowles with Khalil Mack. He'd still be the head coach of the Raiders.
For sure. For sure. For sure, man. For sure. All right, man. Any other thoughts?
No, that's it.
Yeah,
We definitely went on a tangent there. You know,
we went on a
I'll try
tangent.
to throw some Super Bowl clips, all 22, if they let me. You know,
Okay.
into it. So
Yeah, just don't take anything from Brian Baldinger, bro. Make sure you match it up with Brian Baldinger. You
they
don't want
look
to.
they're hating on us. For the listeners, for the audience, okay. So every once in a while we'll get a copyright infringement flag on our videos, and they try to say that Marcus stole his one of the segments that he did. What oh, this was
Oh, my top five play designs. They said I stole it from Brian
right,
Baldinger.
right, from Baldy's breakdowns. So we got to watch all of Baldy's breakdowns and make sure none of those plays are the plays that we're going to talk about. Otherwise, they're gonna flag us. You know, that was the weirdest thing. I was like, come on, Baldy's breakdowns. He records it on his phone. On this, he's recording the screen with his phone. Like it's not the same quality. What are they talking about?
Oh yeah, Baldy break it. You can't take all 22, Baldy. That's all I gotta say. You can't take all the all 22, man. You're not the all 22 owner.
He
That's all
is.
I'm saying.
He is the all 22.
Obviously. Can't even post a Nelson Aguilar touchdown like, oh no, Baldy did that first. You can't. That's not your breakdown.
The funny thing is, YouTube said it was a manual review, so that means that someone sat down and watched our video, and then reported it.
So it's Baldy. He's a snitch.
It was lit. So Brian Baldinger watched our video and said, "I said similar things about Nelson Aguilar's touchdown. I'm flagging this video." And now whoever clicks on that video, the crazy thing about it, whoever clicks on that video, Brian Baldinger gets the
Gets the
ad revenue.
He just took all the money. Oh man, it's hate.
Luckily, we don't do this for the cash here, guys. You know, so.
God.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Thanks for tuning in. This is Draft Scout versus Pro Scout, Offensive Tackle Edition. Marcus Johnson, my man Marcus Johnson over here at the Mark John NFL on Twitter. He's the Draft Scout. He brought us a whole bunch of great tackle prospects that we're going to see in the NFL Draft coming up in April, May, March, whatever. It's everything's running together for me. It's COVID time. And then make sure you follow myself on Twitter at BDWilliams18. I'm the Pro Scout. Hopefully next episode I get you some better pro free agent prospects. So yeah, stay tuned for that, Raider Nation. And as always, be cool. Peace.